So this has been prompted by the fact that Goji Center tends to just do a lot of clickbait content, which, funnily enough, I think they even kind of got pissy over when I called them out on it, because they made, like, part of an animation trying to, like, goof up the gore a little bit. But it wasn't the gore I was going after. It was the fact that they were saying false information just to have gore. That's the difference. I don't care if their content's gory, violent, and disgusting, as long as it remains truthful. That's what I cared about back then, and that's what I care about now. So, to address things that they've said just to have gore and, you know, appeal to the casuals, I suppose. Well, there is a number of videos I can go into. I think the one that's the most damning for this is pitting Shin versus Legendary. Of course, since they are different canons, they did acknowledge that their usual format tends to not really work, and they also gave Shin every benefit of the doubt you possibly fucking can. However, there's a number of reasons why that is not the way to approach this. One, things like anatomy depend only if the combatants are relative in strength or overall statistics and reasons for their powers. But we know that that is not the case here. The monsterverse creatures are powered by an energy source so damn powerful, it's compared to those of like miniature stars and supermassive black holes. By comparison, Shin just has a nuclear reactor in his gut, so we can already cross off that excuse. 2. Appealing to the casuals. I don't think that works either. Reason for that is this. If you're going to try to take it upon yourself and your crew to try to educate and inform on the abilities and differences between these creatures to give a result of who would win in a fight, then I think you should be genuinely honest about it, even if the subject matter becomes more complex. It seems simply illogical to just try to like limit it to anatomy based stuff, because A, that's stupid, and B, most people with eyes will point out the differences in showings anyway. They kind of just try to dishonestly lowball Legendary to a nonsensical degree, while also just kind of giving Shin some bullshit just cuz. For example, they for some reason think Shin's building, burning, not even exploding atomic breath is somehow comparable at all to Legendary's feat of lasering through over 5,000 miles of rock, metal, and gravity core of the planet, when Shin didn't even fully destroy the area he was in with prolonged fire. So much, in fact, that he literally turned off for 15 days to recharge himself. You also can't even say that the blast to the core is an outlier, considering that that was Godzilla actually holding back, and he uses the exact same amount of power against Mechagodzilla later on. That's after he's drained a lot of his energy, fighting Kong and blowing up Apex facilities. He was also more powerful during the events of King of the Monsters, and I feel it's dishonest to use a weaker version of the character just to give Shin more of a chance. But either way, them saying, "Trust me bro, Shin is definitely this level, my sources, I made it the fuck up," kind of leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Like, their brand is mostly on like analysis, but they kind of just made some shit up for no real reason. For comparison sake, I'll explain it pretty simply. Since Joules is universal and applies to everything, those numbers can get quite high quite quick. So, I will use scientific notation in order to break down larger figures. This is important. Remember that every extra number added to the 10-2 is a 10 times increase. So for example, 10 to the 2 is 100, 10 to the 1 is 10. Divide those, that's a 10 times difference. So say 10 to the 30 is a lot higher than 10 to the 20 by a lot. So let's get into figures. Shin's lasering through the 3 wards of Tokyo calculates to around 10 to the 15 joules, with the highest estimations getting it up to 10 to the 18 joules. By comparison, even the Castle Bravo nuclear bomb is about 10 to the 16 joules, or 15 megatons of TNT. By comparison, Shin is kilotons, 2 megatons of TNT, and Legendary literally no-sold it to the face. Goji Center tried a dishonest excuse that Kaiju can damage Legendary, therefore this means Shin can do it too. The problem is, all those monsters just scale back to Godzilla. Mutos, Kong, Ghidorah, Mechagodzilla, even Ion Dragon. Since they could damage Godzilla, while nuclear weapons could not, they're just more powerful. Simple. Simple and straightforward. That blast to the core, even at its lowest possible calculations, gets 10 to the 21 to 10 to the 22 joules. And as I explained in a previous video, if you give more context to it, it can go much, much higher. So at any point of his choosing, Legendary could end Shin anytime he wants to. Shin is far slower. While his beam speed may be as fast or faster, it takes a while to charge up. And Shin has like negative reaction time in comparison to Legendary. Because of that, Shin dies in one blast if Legendary at all tries. The only way you can get a possible Shin fanfic new form is if Legendary for some reason decides to just whack him in half and then leave him there while he regenerates and just like goes to take a coffee break or something. Problem is though, he would most likely not even let Shin do that. He would notice Shin's energy is still growing, since he could see energy as shown with Tiamat even when he was blinded. On top of this, his atomic breath was able to nullify regeneration of the Shinomura that could regrow from a single cell with a good shot. That's better than Shin can do, and he killed it with one hit. The Shinomura, which could kind of wrestle with Godzilla a little bit, so you could argue it's as strong as Shin, at least, and he killed it with one hit. So kinda sucks to be Shin, I guess. Now then they made a sequel video with the 5th form, which is useless in combat, since that was specifically designed to be counter-human, not counter-Godzilla, and a fanfiction form that so many Shin boys liked that it even made an appearance in Slick's Godzilla Battle Royale. I don't think I even really need to say anything at this point. Even if Shin evolved, it doesn't help him. His growth in power between forms went from like building level to at maximum city block level, physically speaking. His atomic breath is really his only saving grace against monsters even of his caliber. But against Legendary it just doesn't matter. Yes, he was bothered a little bit by military weaponry. GVK doesn't even fall into this because everything there is specifically aimed. The only thing I have to ask is, why did you lie, Goji Center? Why did you lie so much? You lied about the regeneration, you lied about the adaptation, you lied about Shin's strength, you lied about it being a close battle when it's not at all. You lied about Legendary's breath being 500,000 degrees when it's 20,000 to maybe 50,000. I can't stand dishonesty. And I also guarantee that it's due to crap like this that well-meaning but completely foolish individuals, it's like Godzilla guy, have also started their buffoonery. Anyway, thanks for hearing the debunk and the rant. Normal content and more debunks are soon to follow.